Hi, my name is Tim Holmes and I'm the Managing Director of Sirdar, South Africa. I'm here today to talk about 3 challenges for getting a board started. So one of the main things that we've picked up in our dealings with various clients and prospective clients is that shareholders are quite fearful of introducing a board to their company because they fear they're going to lose control. I think where that comes from is that we're not really taught at school or university on what the roles and responsibilities are of a shareholder. Now, a shareholder invests in a business. A shareholder therefore has a right to a return on their investment, and a shareholder has the right to set or expectation to set the path for that business. So determine that, is it going to be a cell phone company, is it going to be a manufacturing company, is it going to be a service company, what is the direction of that company? I think one of the analogies we've used in the various talks that we've given is the one of buying or owning a ship, having a captain of that ship and having a crew of that ship. So if you're sending a ship overseas with a cargo full of goods, the shareholders own the ship. But from the point that that ship leaves harbour, they actually don't have control over anything. And a company is very similar. A company is a juristic person. A company has and is a legal entity in its own right. So you can't own a company because that would be slavery, just like you can't own a person. So think about a company as a juristic person, and that terminology of shareholder takes on a whole new meaning. So you've got the right to return on your investment, but you've also got a right to appoint directors. And that is appoint directors, not a right to be a director. So if shareholders are doing their job properly, they should appoint directors that are qualified, that are experienced, and that have the right EQ, have the right general knowledge of running a business, that they can actually be effective as directors. And they need to take a good strong look at themselves and say, am I that person? Or should I be bringing in other people as director? So it's not that you lose control, it's you've never had the control in the first place. You have a right for a return and you have a right to appoint directors, but you've never had control over the business. And it's that convoluted, confusing aspect of being a shareholder, being a director, maybe even being a manager in the business, and which hat am I wearing and which role am I actually fulfilling. So the first place we would suggest that shareholders go is to go and find an education on what it means to be a shareholder and what it really means to be a director. Because then they can try and separate those hats. And if the conclusion is, yes, absolutely, I'm an ideal person to be a director of this business, excellent. Then let's be a director of this business. But the role of being a shareholder and the role of being a director on a board are different and separate and have different skills and requirements from all kinds of aspects. So the second pushback or challenge of forming a board usually comes from the managing director, because again they start to feel like they're being threatened, their position's threatened, now there's some accountability coming in, are they going to take away my job, am I going to lose control of the business from an operational perspective? And again, that's maybe founded fear if they're not performing, but the point of the board is really to support that managing director, because the board is not about the operational requirements of the business. The board is about the strategic requirements, the strategic direction of the business. In that ship analogy, it's the captain and his first and second mate and the other officers deciding the direction of that ship, deciding the routes that that ship is going to follow. So from a managing director's perspective, the only really real fear that a managing director might have of a board being started is that now they're finally going to be held accountable. And for too many small businesses particularly, the managing director isn't held accountable because there's no one above them to hold them accountable. So that's a very real fear. They don't want to feel like they're part of a corporate and they're being told what to do. And again, that's not the point of the board. The board is to put the interests of the business first, to do everything in their power to put the business first. And if the managing director is performing, fabulous. If the managing director is not performing, then they need to make a really good, tough call to say, actually we need to find a different person to run this business. And third is time. Now there's a conception that running a board and getting a board started is going to use an enormous amount of time, and they don't have time because we're busy running the business. And certainly to start with, there is a significant amount of time that needs to be put in because it's doing something different. It's learning new skills. It's learning new ways of doing things. So there will be an investment of time, as there is for any new process or any new procedure in any business. That time is ideally used to put in the policies, put in the processes to make sure that the preparation of the board papers becomes part of the day-to-day system of running the business. So just because there's a board meeting, that shouldn't be the only time you produce financials. Just because there's a board meeting, it shouldn't be the only time that you have a management report or a managing director's report. Those reports should be coming to the managing director from the general managers and supervisors on a monthly basis anyway. The only difference is that you need to maybe prepare it and produce a consolidated report specifically for the board meeting. But those kinds of reports should be being produced anyway. So the meeting is designed to be effective, efficient, and ideally no more than 4 hours. If it's a whole day, then the board needs to really consider, are they being effective? Are they preparing properly? Are they defining what needs to be discussed at that particular meeting in such a way that actually the work can get done in a reasonable amount of time? So time is a relative thing. Yes, there'll be time in setup, yes, there'll be time in education initially, but once the board process is running, as far as possible, it should be part of the day-to-day running of the business. And it should be happening whether there's a board meeting or not. I hope that was useful. If you want to learn more about what it means to be a director, what it means to practically run a board, what are the kinds of things you should be doing in a board, then I can highly recommend coming to our High Performance Boards training sessions and workshops. Click on the link below, go to our events page, see when the next course is running, and continue and carry on, book it. Thank you.